Welcome back, everyone. A light crystal has fallen from the sky and embedded itself into Azeroth. Adventurers are drawn by the promise of power, but a darker figure has taken an interest. Xal'atath, once Blade of the Black Empire, now in the forefront of the Void's next gambit to take our world. But here's the thing. I'm not talking about that light crystal in Hallowfall. I'm not talking about the War Within expansion. No, I'm actually talking about the Hillsbrad foothills, because Xal'atath has actually shown up in the Season of Discovery. They've added some lore around it as well, actual canon, and this is how to think about it, directly from Josh Greenfield, found photographs. Essentially, evidence of past events that will have an impact on the current story. Chris Metzen confirmed that with Season of Discovery, it's not an alternative timeline, it is us unearthing more of the past. So with that, let's see what Xal'atath was up to 20 years ago, and what other found photos there are out there, and of course, today's sponsor. HelloFresh. So here's the deal, right? I've been a customer of theirs since 2019, long before sponsors happened, and my reason was simple. I eat better, I eat tastier food, I stress less, I've got less shopping to do, and there's way less food waste, and I also save money, which is quite a lot. And if you go to HelloFresh.com and you use code BELLULARFREE, you'll get free breakfast for life. Yes, each box you receive will have a free breakfast item in it for the duration of your subscription. That's Bellular free, or click that link down below. Now, your box will contain meals that you select from a weekly menu of over 45 options, plus some real tasty add-ons. The ingredients you get are farm fresh and they're pre-portioned, which is such a great time and clutter saver. I mean, hey, decision fatigue is a real thing, so for me, HelloFresh doing, recipe planning, shopping, that eliminates stress, and I eat far more varied meals than I'd otherwise be doing myself. Now, I'm just back in the city in the new year. My first box has arrived, so here's what I've got in that. They're all quick and easy meals, which are cookable in 15 to 20 minutes, which is amazing for my schedule, but they've got other types of meals like Calorie Smart or Protein Smart to help you meet your goals. So overall then, HelloFresh is just an epic quality of life upgrade, and you can check them out at HelloFresh.com and use code BELLULARFREE for free breakfast for life, which does mean a breakfast item per box for free for the duration of your subscription. That's code BELLULARFREE at HelloFresh.com, or just click that link below for that free breakfast for life. Xal'atath, a character introduced in Legion, is in the Season of Discovery. Now, she's not named, but it's definitely our harbinger of the Void Apocalypse. Whenever you reach the end of Phase 1, right, it's time for you to get gearing, and the best in slot stuff is the Void-touched crafted gear. These are essentially original crafting recipes infused with the new powers of the Void, like, say, the Void-touched shining silver breastplate. And that's where the new lore kicks in. In the Hillsbrad foothills, a star fell from the sky and embedded itself into the mountains. Paladins from each faction then take an interest, as if it sort of called out to them. But by the time we find the star and realize that it is in fact a light crystal, somebody is already there. A shadowy figure, a night elf in void form with a familiar feeling dagger in her hand. Not even a night elf, by the way, actually one of the old classic era high elf models with face markings that easily do look rather suspicious. What's even more striking about this elf is that it's a level 63 elite. Sarfang, who had endless memes dedicated to his amazing raid wiping abilities, is only level 62, so that's perhaps a little nod that whoever this is, they're very powerful. What is she doing then? Well, we don't know, but giving us gear is clearly something fun for her to do while she's working on her actual plan. And to figure out what she's actually up to, we actually have got to take a look at our next expansion, The War Within. Long before Arathor fractured into the Seven Kingdoms, a group of Arathi were sent visions of a falling star. Those visions led them to Hallowfall, where they had discovered that this star had fallen so fast and so hard, it drove into the planet, embedding deep underground, seemingly right over the soul of Azeroth, almost as if it was some sort of weapon made to bind the heart of our planet, but maybe not, that last bit's just speculation. Anyway, meanwhile, Xal'atath, who of course back then was bound in the Blade of the Black Empire, she was being passed from hand to hand, ending up with Dark Iron priestesses, ambitious nobles, and eventually, even in the Legion expansion, a champion of Azeroth. All while she was working schemes to set herself free. But deeper yet, she was still working as the Harbinger. We now, and I'll cover it soon, pretty much have it confirmed that that has been her role for a very long time indeed. So, through this time, she made bargains with primal drakes. She shook the foundations of empires and slowly worked toward the downfall of old gods. Now free, her plans have clicked into place. She is now the harbinger of the Void and its most powerful agent on Azeroth. Some think she could be a remnant of a fifth old god. Maybe she's a servant who beat the odds and has become the master. Or, well, we just don't know yet. But whatever her origins are, they don't change the fact that her plans have been stretching back thousands of years and they're starting to pay off. Most recently in Dragonflight, we've seen Xal'atath retrieve a Hungering Void essence from Galakrond, and with that, she struck a bargain with the Nerubians of Azj-Kahet, who we'll see in the next expansion. Now, infused seemingly with this Hungering essence or whatever power, these Nerubians are becoming bigger, stronger, they're able to wield the Void, they seemingly have got the power to actually expand their kingdom. Expand into what? An answer is the Arathi and their light crystal. So what is Xal'atath getting in return for this? She obviously powered these Nerubians up for a reason. Well, first up, the Nerubians are actually scouring the depths of the world for the blood of old gods. Think the likes of, say, Saronite. It's got a liquid form, but of course it also crystallizes, it can be used, and it was one of the ores that we harvested a lot of in Wrath of the Lich King. All these old gods are dead, or at least their corporeal beings are dead. That means there's a lot of blood, and Xal'atath is seemingly gathering up as much of that delicious blood as she can. Some think that she might even try, if she is actually a fifth old god, to reclaim her true form. Others think she's just trying to slurp up some more power. Right now, we don't know her endgame. But the second thing has obviously got to do with Hallowfall's light crystal. That thing is not natural to Azeroth. It fell from the sky, it got close to the core of our planet. I mean, hell, if it arrived long before the vision that the Paladins got, then you could even say there's a chance that the whole fissure in that area was created when this light crystal fell from the sky. Or maybe that light crystal was targeted at the fissure. I don't know, I'm sure we'll find out soon. But why would the light do something like this? Well, that makes me think back to some recent interactions with light-aligned beings. We've got, say, the Ember Ward in Revendreth that's totally destroyed by the wrath of the light raining down from the sky, all pretty badass and metal. That's the light taking revenge. Then we've got Xera and her ideology with Illidan. A being like her would obviously bind Azeroth without hesitation. So, who knows what this crystal is, but it seems the Nerubians definitely want it, and perhaps the crystal was even a weapon. We don't know yet. Now this is all rather worrying. This crystal, of course, has a void phase. It acts a little bit like an arrow, which itself is rather suspicious. So its void phase is essentially like the night to its light phase's day. The Arathi worship this crystal as the bringing of life and fire, their sun. But at night, they lock the gates and they keep a lookout because void creatures begin appearing. Now, I'd only suspected it at first, but now, with there being a big light crystal in Hillsbrad, it all feels rather, connected, confirmed. I mean, Xal'atath obviously will want to turn that light crystal in Hallowfall into a full void thing, right? She'll probably want to get some sort of big voidy superweapon pointed at our world soul. So with some of those stakes from the War Within set up, let's go back 20 years to Season of Discovery. On the Zoram Strand is the corpse of a Twilight cultist artisan, his soul trapped, unable to move on until his final mission is complete. He was an artisan for the cult, until one day, she appears in his dreams, this shadowy figure who showed him how to make something. She showed him how to make the box. It made things stronger, it made them better, but at a cost. This box was hungry. The box consumed blood and animal sacrifice, but it gave out wonders. This was great. Problem is, it grew hungrier. Soon, the cult actually started sacrificing its own members to the box, and then the creations of the box themselves became hungry. And at that point, the Twilight Artisan kind of knew the darkness that he was dealing with this box. It was making these things, stronger and all of that, but also very hungry, without their own emotions anymore, purely driven by hate, by rage, and by hunger, which, in a way, could even remind us of what Xal'atath is doing with the Nerubians, of course, with the hungering essence of Galakrond. Regardless of that, the artisan tried to hide the box, but they knew it would not stay hidden forever, so they told us to find the box and how we could destroy it by using the holy light. So the next step is we get the box, and then we've got to find a powerful source of the holy light. And that is where we hear rumors of a star falling on the Hillsbrad foothills. There, paladins and sunwalkers are investigating. We turn up and we use the power of the crystal to destroy the box. And when we do, all that remains is a shard of the void that can be turned into some best-in-slot gear. And it's then that our shadowy figure appears, the very same that haunted the Twilight Artisan's dreams. The conversation is classic Xal'atath. She says the Void Shard is very powerful and shouldn't just lie at the bottom of our bag. She compliments us, cajoles us, flatters us, threatens us, but ultimately we do obviously take the power that she offers because we want to kill things in Season of Discovery. So, this could be a high elf obviously being influenced by Xal'atath. Some others think, and it's a bit more of a harebrained theory, but because she says we're being boring again, some people think that it's actually our Xal'atath who is free. And basically the model we see is the closest approximation to actual Xal'atath that they can do within Classic without adding a bunch of new assets. So, who knows? It could be that. Or this could be the first time that we've interacted directly with her, or this could be one of the beings, a high elf, that she is working through. I suppose the craziest thing you could say is that after the Dawn of the Infinite dungeon, maybe this is actually the point in time that she kind of re-enters Azeroth in, but I suppose that would be kind of mental and really messy. Basically, who the hell knows, but something's going on. Now there's another bit. This whole thing, right, it's playing out in the Hillsbrad foothills. And that's relevant because that is slap bang in the middle of where the Arathi came from. You know, the very same Arathi who went all the way over to Hallowfall because they got a vision of a falling star that turned out to be a light crystal. And here in Season of Discovery, we have a bunch of paladins seeing a vision and finding a big light crystal. At the very least, it's Blizzard having a bit of a poke at us. Anyway, this being, likely Xal'atath, closes by saying that she has left her mark on us, which signals to me that this is perhaps not the last time we will see her in the Season of Discovery. And realistically, this is just the tip of the iceberg, right? I mean, what did they say? They said these are found photos, these are confirmed to be canon. Therefore, what does Phase 2 look like? What is new in Gnomergon? Will Xal'atath maybe make an appearance in Stranglethorn? There's quite a lot to speculate about. Here's the deal, there's more Seasons of Discovery, there's more lore there coming out over the rest of this year. We have seen previews of future phases with paladins using Death Knight spells. Now that's where it's fun, because before the Knights of the Ebon Blade, the vast majority of Death Knights were fallen paladins. Arthas is obviously the ultimate example there, but yes, most early Death Knights were from a single group of paladins who tried to invade Northrend long before we ever got the chance. They got corrupted and were Arthas' earliest champions. Now, the thing is that rune acquisition is already very lore-rich. We've done things like weeding satyrs out of Teldrassil, praying at Azeroth's holy sites, and breaking into Shadowfang Keep for some deadly poisons. Just the same then with this Paladin Death Knight rune set. We've got to imagine they'll be going on some big thematic journey doing some terrible deeds to get their DK powers, and you wonder what lore will happen there. But the biggest thing coming is definitely the Karazhan Crypts raid. This actually is very long suspected to be a piece of cut content in the game. You actually could explore there. It's got some really just creepy imagery, and certainly back in the day when I was getting started as a player, Karazhan Crypts was just one of the game's great mysteries that everybody sort of knew about and talked about. Now it's actually going to be in the game, and that's pretty big, because when it does come, Blizzard will fill those crypts with boss fights and other things. Those bosses will have lore, and there are few places on Azeroth more lore-rich than Karazhan. What horrible creations did Medivh lock up there? What portals of void exist there? What can Xal'atath find down there? And based on today, I'm not worried that this is just going to be a few random encounters with no lore, because if today's video is telling you everything, it's that people like Metzin are hands-on with Season of Discovery, that they're actually putting characters like Xal'atath there, they're connecting stuff that she's doing in Season of Discovery to the content in the future of the game. This all feels intentional, it feels like there's more to come. That, to me, just makes this all more exciting. So, as we come to the latter stages of Phase 1, let's consider what's next, because it's not just some rerun of classic servers. No, this is a whole new horizon for WoW's oldest lore, and perhaps if you're the sort of player who really wishes a Classic Plus would happen, maybe this teaches us what Blizzard's approach to the lore would be. That is it for today's video. Of course, if you want to check out some other awesome lore videos, I've got a great one on Elune and on Anduin for you to check out. Big thanks, of course, to today's sponsor for helping to pay the bills. And with that said, I'll see you next time.